and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning. Bye. Okay. For our next session, we have our speaker Narcisse. He's going to do a deep dive into machine learning. So, hello, Narcisse.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Welcome. I didn't catch the names. My name is Narcisse.
Yeah, welcome to the Global AI Student Conference, Narcisse. So thank you so much. Feel free to go ahead and share your screen, and then we can get started.
Awesome. Thank you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. 1 minute. Forgot to share with sound. Is the sound visible? Is the sound audible? Is it audible?
It's not.
Yes,
it's not audible. The audio is not audible. You can skip the video. Yeah, maybe you can skip the video and move to the next slide. Yeah.
Okay. Start again.
Intelligence helps us meet the needs of today, so we're prepared for tomorrow.
By 2050, we need to produce 60% more food. So how are we going to feed the world without wrecking the planet? Using Microsoft Artificial Intelligence, we can reduce waste and produce more food. Any grower will tell you every row, every crop is different. We can use Microsoft AI to make local predictions about light, wind, rain. This helps farmers know when to plant, irrigate and harvest. It's making a difference.
Artificial intelligence helps farmers grow more while wasting less.
And there you go. Welcome. My name is Narcisse Mbuyu, and I'll be taking you through a deep dive into machine learning. As demonstrated in that video, that's just some of the capabilities that we'll be able to do with machine learning. So a bit about who I am. My name is Narcisse Mbuyu. I'm a student I'm a student at DUT. I'm a beta Microsoft Student Learning Ambassador, and I'm also part of the IoT Club, and below are my socials. Feel free to connect. So to begin, I'll quickly start off by a small introduction about what is artificial intelligence. As mentioned, artificial intelligence is the intelligence demonstrated by machines. As us human beings, living organisms, we have something called, we have an intelligence called natural intelligence, which is the intelligence displayed by living organisms. But now with machines, they have something called artificial intelligence, giving them the ability to basically do what we can do, but even at a better rate. Just as a small definition about what is artificial intelligence. What are some of the key elements of artificial intelligence, which is machine learning, anomaly detection, computer vision, natural language processing, and conversational AI. Today, I'll be focusing more on machine learning because of time. I won't be able to go through the others. So what is machine learning? So machine learning is the foundation of the most AI solutions. So basically all the AI solutions that we see, all the AI solutions that I just mentioned earlier on, they're all built on machine learning. So basically machine learning in definition is like the ability to give a machine or a machine some information, and they're able to make that information and do something with it, like in simple terms, as I've just explained. But in the definition, it gives computers the ability to learn from the environment with the use of data. What is big data? So big data is a huge chunk of information, right? Huge chunk of information given to machines in order for them to work with. What do I mean by huge chunks of data? So, for example, our devices, our Facebook, our Instagram, all of those things, they generate huge amounts of data, and that's why the Facebook companies and everything like that, they use those information to improve their AI, to improve their models and everything like that, because of the information that we give them, or they generate from us on their platform. That's just an example of big data. Even the video that we just watched about the farming, they have sensors, and the sensors keep track of the temperature, they keep track of everything related to the outside, and that's all the meantime generating data for the AI to use. So that's an example of big data. So what's the relationship between big data and machine learning? The relationship is that machine learning needs a lot of data for it to work with. Data. More data, the more effective your machine learning model will be. So a bit about how machine learning works. As I mentioned, the more data that you give it, the better it becomes. By looking at this example here wants to detect different types of flowers. So you have to collect all different species of flowers, collect them, train them, and then you're gonna be able, your machine learning model will be able to detect which type of flower it is. As you can see in the demonstration below, I'll start from the beginning. So over here, the different types of flowers are collected. Now the machine learning has been trained, and now it's able to detect that this is that's the type of flowers that it detects, as you can see through the example. So moving on, right? So now, how can one get started with machine learning? To be honest, machine learning usually revolves around Python. You know, your Python, and mostly Python is the language people prefer using when it comes to machine learning, because Python is very flexible. It gives you a wide range of options and everything like that. But now, for us who do not know Python, or who are not comfortable with Python, or like prefer sticking in our own comfort zone. For me, like I grew up with C# and I prefer staying within the Microsoft community. So Microsoft came up with something called ML.NET, Machine Learning in .NET Applications. So with the use of ML.NET, we're able to include machine learning in our .NET application, in our Windows application that we use every day, without leaving our comfort zone, without leaving our language, C# or other Microsoft languages, to implement machine learning. So with the help of machine learning, ML.NET, it helps to incorporate that. So what exactly is ML.NET? ML.NET, as I mentioned, it gives you the ability to add machine learning in .NET application. It's simplified with custom machine learning and automated machine learning. Custom ML meaning you can customize the machine learning model to do what you want. And automated machine learning, it automates the process for you, so you don't have to do anything. And that's for those who do not know anything about coding, or have no idea about coding. They just want machine learning. They can use AutoML. And then it makes use of other technologies such as TensorFlow and Onyx. And it's also been proven has a great performance, and it's also very scalable, as you can see. Moving on, I'm just moving a bit fast because of time. So what type of predictions can we make with ML.NET? So we can use classification, regression, anomaly detection, recommendation, time series, and image classification. So those are the types of predictions that we can make with the help of ML.NET. To just go a bit about what each of these predictions are. Classification is when you try and determine something, or you try to categorize something, whether it's negative or positive, whether it's good or bad, whether it's an apple or not. Those are like you categorizing it, you're putting it into a certain place. Regression is predicting the price of a product, or predicting the value of something over a series of time. Anomaly detection, detecting mistakes. For example, us human beings, over a wide amount of time, we can make mistakes. We are susceptible to mistakes. But now with the help of artificial intelligence or machine learning, it helps detect those mistakes so that when careless, it covers that for us. It can recommend products, recommend movies, apps to use, etc. All of that comes from AI, machine learning. Time series focus, the weather of a series of time, and most importantly, image classification, which the session previously was all about. So how can one get started with ML.NET, right? So how ML.NET offers 3 tools for us to get started with. There's Model Builder tool, ML.NET Command Line Interface tool, and ML.NET API. So hopefully by the end of the session, I can be able to do a small session to get started with all these 3 tools. So moving on, more about the tools. So machine learning model builder tool is within Visual Studio. So once you go into your Visual Studio, and I have to put out this disclaimer that it's within, you have to use Visual Studio Code for you to implement machine learning capability into your application. So you just choose your scenarios, you input your data, and you let it train the model. The model will do the training for you, and it's going to generate the code for you to use wherever you want it to use, all within Visual Studio. And then command line tool is the exact same thing, but now this time you're just putting in the command line interface, you're putting the code, and it does everything for you without the graphical user interface. So this one is better because it's available on all platforms, Windows, Mac, Linux, etc. But this builder tool is only available on Windows devices. So those are the 2 tools. First of the 2 of 3 tools that you can use to get started with ML.NET. Moving on. So now we've talked about machine learning model on a local basis, like locally speaking. Now we are going to talk about machine learning on Microsoft Azure on the cloud platform. So there are various ways to tackle it. The other cloud providers, your Google, your Amazon, but for this instance, that's another disclaimer. For this instance, we'll be talking about machine learning on Microsoft Azure and what Azure offers, what services that Azure offers for machine learning. So moving on. So Azure offers automated machine learning, Azure Machine Learning Designer, data and compute management, and pipelines. So AutoML, as I mentioned, automated machine learning is just a drag and drop interface. Sorry, I'm mistaken. Automated machine learning is a place on Azure where you just import your data and Azure will take care of the rest. It will train the model for you. It then will give you the best model for you to use. Azure Machine Learning Designer is for those who are in between, who have a bit of coding experience, and they also don't get involved with the code, so they can just simply drag and drop which model that they want, which data they want to use, etc. It's a matter of drag and drop. And then data and compute management is for the it's like a cloud-based storage on Azure, and pipelines as well. Pipelines is like is like for the pros. I would say for the pros who know exactly what they're doing and they work hand in hand with APIs. So we'll get to this one last. I'll leave that for now because it's just getting started. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat for me. Moving on to just clearly explain everything I've just mentioned now. So I said auto machine learning is for those who are new to coding, who are new to programming. They have no experience. They don't even know anything. They just want to use machine learning in what they want to do. So this one is for them. As it says, it's a feature that enables non-experts to quickly create effective machine learning models from data. So all you need is just your data, and Azure will take care of the rest for you. When can you use machine learning? You can use auto machine learning for classification, regression, and time series forecasting. And last but not least, how does it work? So over there, the bottom of the screen, it gives you an indication of how AutoML works. You just choose your problem, you choose your scenario, and you let Azure Auto Machine Learning do the rest for you. That with the graphical user interface, graphical representation of of what I just mentioned right now. So you, the user, you input your data, you choose your settings that you want, and you let auto machine learning do the rest for you. As you can see, it trains all the algorithms, and chooses the best one for you and gives you the results. That's just a graphical user interface. A graphical representation of what I just mentioned. And now we move on to Azure Machine Learning Designer. So with Azure Machine Learning Designer, as I said, is for those who are in between, who have an idea of what they want, but they don't want to get involved into the heavy lifting. So all they can do is just simply drag and drop and assign the dots together. As simple as that. It lets you visually connect data sets and modules to an interactive canvas to create a machine learning model as demonstrated in the picture on the side. So how exactly does it work? So as I said, you choose your data model and you just drag and drop, as simple as that. I would want to explain further, but because of time and I want to show you the demonstration at the end, I'll continue. So just a graphical representation of the node below. So machine learning designer, right? It works with pipelines. I mentioned pipelines earlier on. So what is pipeline? So think of it of this scenario. So you in your house, there's the bathroom, there's a kitchen, and all of these things need water. They have to work with water one way or another. So there's a pipe connected to the bathroom, there's a pipe connected to the kitchen, and everything comes together in one pipe, bringing water to the household and taking out the waste and everything like that. That's the same thing with Azure, with machine learning designer. That's how it works with pipelines as well. How exactly? So you have a pipeline that will do this amount of code. You have a pipeline that will do this amount of code and just bring it together to have one model. So it basically breaks down certain bits and bits for you to understand exactly what you are doing. So there's a pipeline for that does the experiment. It has a pipeline that does this. It has a pipeline that does, and all of together comes together for one whole thing. I hope that makes sense. Moving on. So I mentioned about ML.NET API. So API, what is an API? API is an application programmable interface. So it's a computing interface that defines interactions between multiple software application or mixed software intermediaries. That's like a big definition. Wow. So in simple terms, an API is basically an application that is made by another person and you just use it to do whatever you want. Think of it like this, right? So you're at a restaurant, and then at the restaurant you want to eat. All you concern is just your food and for you eating. How your food is being made, what goes on in the process of making your food, you really do not know what happens. All you know is that you're gonna eat. So that's just one example. Another example is like I don't know how to dance, but I want to dance. So I can just call the dance API, choose the dance moves that I want, and I'll be able to dance. That's an example of an API. It's just a program made by another person, which I'm using to do what I want. So with ML.NET API, you're doing everything from scratch, from like from no interface, no builder tool, anything like that. You're doing everything from scratch. You're building your machine learning model from scratch. As I said, this is for the professionals who know what they want and who know what they're doing. They use an ML.NET API to make their machine learning models. So this is an example of a machine learning model API in Python. As you can see, it involves pipelines. That's in Python. Moving forward, this is a pipeline in C#. As you can see, I was working on this one, pipeline in C#. And last but not least, it is time for the demos. So that was a lot to say in under 20 minutes. But I hope it makes sense and you've got something out of it. If you have anything, you can please let me know the questions and I'll be sure to answer that. So now it's time for demos. It's enough with the theories. So what you'll need a machine learning, you'll need a machine learning Visual Studio, Azure account with credits, and focus and determination because it's not easy at first try, but over time, you'll get the hang of it and it'll become easy for you. So let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start on Visual Studio. Let me open Visual Studio. As you can see, I've already created a Visual Studio project, and it's a console application in .NET Core. So 1 minute. Setting up for you. Okay. Okay. Can't find what I'm looking for, but I'll go on. So to get started, I hope the font is visible because I was trying to look for the zoom function. So I hope it's visible. So first thing to get started is that you come to your Solution Explorer and you click on your project, right? After clicking on your project, you right click it and you're gonna see all these options and you're just gonna come to add. Once you come to add, you'll see machine learning models in green over here, and that's what you're gonna click for you to add your machine learning template. So this is normally how you do it, but because I have Visual Studio 2022.
Excuse me, Narcisse, I'm really sorry to interrupt. If you could just zoom a little bit, that would be absolutely great.
Okay, no problem. Let me just sort out the zoom for you.
Use Control Plus.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you can just close this window, and once you go back, maybe you can, yeah, Control Plus.
It doesn't seem to be working. I have this tool, I'm looking for it. Just give me a minute. I'm sorry about this. In the meantime, is there any questions while I look for the zoom?
Or maybe on the bottom left, you can find a drop down that says 133%, maybe inside Visual Studio. Yeah,
yes,
you can make it like 200.
Okay.
Maybe a little more.
Nah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're not working with the code at the moment. We're first implementing the machine learning model into our Visual Studio application. So let me just use the zoom function in Windows. Yeah, doesn't seem to be working. So I'll just continue. I'll be sure to zoom in after I'm done with the demonstration because of time. So you just come to right click your solution, you come to add, and you click machine learning model. And then you name the name of your model, machine learning model, and you click enter. It's gonna create. It's creating. It's adding it to the project. It's adding to the project. So now your machine learning model has machine learning capabilities has been added to your project. So now after it's been added to your project, then you have to choose the scenario which you want to do. So now there's data classification, value prediction, image classification, recommendation, object detection, anomaly detection, all types of scenarios that you can imagine and think of. So right now we're going to do let's do data classification. So basically, we're going to classify two things in a certain category. So now after choosing your scenario that you want, you can choose to work on your local machine, or you can use to work on Azure. So on my one, it says I can use my local machine for me to do my training. And now after training, you need your data source. So now over here, I have my data source set up already. Let me open it. Text stack verification. So we can do a fake or real job post. So we can use machine learning to determine if something is real or fake. We can do a movie review, etc. So we're gonna do a fake or fake job posting to see if the post is fake or real. So that's what we're gonna do. With loading our data onto the machine learning model. It can be either a CSV file or an SQL server. You can work from SQL servers as well. So after your data has been loaded, you choose the title which you want to predict. So now I want to predict the job. I want to predict the job description. So just make sure you choose the right heading for it to work. So now I chose the industry because that's what the table related to the job. I click next, and then you choose your training time. So the bigger your data, the more training time it's gonna need, and the less your data, the less time. But the more training you give it, the more accurate your results will be. So for the demonstration, because of time, I'll just say 200 seconds. And then I'll still train anyway, even though it gives me a warning. So it's training for 200 seconds. So now whilst it's training, I'm gonna go over to the command line interface to show you how to get started there as well. So as you can see, I'm on my Windows terminal, and then you zoom in over here. Okay. As you can see, I've already gone into the file location in which I want to my model to be saved in. So once you've settled that out, you're now gonna move on to installing the machine learning capabilities on your PC for your command line interface. And how do you do that? You just type .NET tool install -g ml.net. So that's the tool the code that you're gonna use to install machine learning model on your command line interface. It's installing now. It's installing. Okay, it's taking a bit of time. But let me just show you the end results of what is expected. So I'm sharing the screen. So it's installing. Whilst it's installing, let's just double check. You see the training is almost done. Whilst I'm showing you this one, we're waiting for this one. We're just waiting for it to load. As I said, in this training, almost time. Okay. So this is how it's supposed to go, like the training. So basically, this is how it's supposed to go. Let me share this one with you. Okay. So this is the result, the end result of what I wanted us to do, but because of time, I just took a picture for you. So after installing your ML.NET onto your command line, you can choose classification, regression, recommendation, image classification, and then you type ML.NET regression. You choose your data source, your column which you want to predict, and your training time that you want to train. And it's going to do the training for you, as you can see. And that's just the first part. And then the second part for the results, going to the results page. So for the results, this is how the results summary is going to be like. So now after you finish training, it's going to show you a summary of the results, show you the model that you want to use, which was regression, and the top 5 regression models that it used. And on top of it, it generates a Visual Studio application for you to use hands-on so that you don't have to worry about that. That's on command line interface. And lastly, to move on before time runs out, Microsoft Azure. So on Microsoft Azure, you can get started by creating a machine learning model. Or how do you get started on Microsoft Azure? You just type ml. Zoom. Okay, I hope that's visible. So you just machine learning. You just type machine learning for you to get started with machine learning. Okay, my PC is frozen. It's really frozen. I think because of time, I can stop here. I can stop here because of time. So due to the technical difficulties on my side, I think I'll end it off here, if that's okay. Sorry about this. Over to you, the host. Any questions?
No problem, Narcisse. That was a good session. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it as well. So just one question, since we are running out of time. Just an overall general question. What do you think is the most often committed setback faced by people while trying to learn or trying to train models in machine learning?
For me, I would say is the data, because people don't have a lot of data available to them. So that's why they can't really implement their model in the way that they want to. So as I said earlier on, the more data you have, the easier it is for you to make your machine learning model or your machine learning experience easy, as I said.
That is exactly correct. So we need to move on to the next session. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.